Welcome to 5678, a movie musical podcast, where two best friends, separated by geography but united in their love for musical theater, review and recap movie musicals. Each episode we will dissect a new movie musical, ranging from the 1930s all the way up to today, all the while giggling, snorting, and generally being absolute dunces. So powder those noses and tape down those boobs. We're about to start rolling.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Maria.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music of
Here we are, back for episode 6.
Oh man, I'm so happy that we're doing a movie that we both enjoyed. You did enjoy this, correct?
Yes, I did enjoy this.
Okay, great.
I was doing some mental math of how old I was when I saw this, because it came out in 2006. So I was in...
Math.
2000.
It had to have been like 7th or 8th.
No, because high school was...
It was going into 7th
2008,
grade.
2009, 2007.
Because I saw it the summer.
Yep, that's how math works. Yep.
Because I remember seeing this for my birthday.
Oh, it came out at Christmas time. What are you
I saw
talking
it in
about?
theaters and it was warm. So maybe it was a re-release? I don't know. But I remember seeing this in theaters for my birthday.
It came out on Christmas Day.
I could not explain this to you.
Are you sure?
This is my memory. I could be wrong.
Anyway.
Welcome to 5678, a movie musical podcast.
We are your hosts. I am Anna.
I am Grace.
And we are so excited to be here.
And today we are going through the 2006 seminal classic, Dreamgirls.
Oh boy. This is available, dear listeners, for rent on Amazon for $3.99.
Indeed.
It is not streamable for free anywhere.
I know that's the hard thing, is that with all of the movies that we're doing, you have to kind of purchase them.
With the exception of Babes in
With the
Toyland.
exception of Babes in Toyland. Oof.
This is our first DreamWorks movie.
It started, and I was like, I honestly did not know that DreamWorks did live-action movies.
Really?
Yeah, I have only seen, like, Shrek and Prince of Egypt. Like, it's...
Okay. We get a dark stage, and we hear cheering and whistling, then a drum, and a bunch of women in tight dresses.
But, like, 50s tight dresses.
And the MC announced that the next ones up in the contest are the stupendous stepsisters.
Sure. And the vibe is high. Like, the music is pumping. It gets your blood going so quickly.
Immediately drops you into, like, you know the time, you know the place.
So then we see Danny Glover, a.k.a. Marty, who is the manager of a famous singer called Jimmy Early.
Jimmy Thunder Early.
Thunder. Trying to convince two background singers to stay, but they are leaving because Jimmy apparently slept with one of them even though he's married. And one of them says the lovely line, "You know I can talk, now watch me walk," and just walks away into a cab.
And then in the shadows, we see Jamie Foxx. Lurking.
He's just like watching from the club entrance, smoking his cigarette. So Marty goes back to the club.
I do want to clarify. So in this club, it is a talent contest that is happening. Marty, who is Jimmy Early's manager, is backstage trying to like get any of these girl groups that are competing in this contest to go and be his backup singers, because we just saw these girls walk out. Jimmy is not performing at this contest. He has a different gig later that night.
Marty goes back into the club, and Jamie Foxx tries to, like, give him a cigarette and interest him in, like, the sound of tomorrow, but Marty's not hearing it. He walks away and goes back in. At this moment, a girl runs in the lovely orange dress and says she's running late, and then runs off again. And Jamie Foxx gives a little smirk, like he knows something, which I don't know how he could at this point.
We don't know what Jamie Foxx's deal is.
Not
yet.
at all. He's just a rather...
We don't know his character name.
Nope.
We don't know why he's there.
Just like a slightly smarmy, attractive man. So the girls on stage finish the song. The next act comes on, and it's 4 guys singing Me and My Baby in suit jackets with no lapels. I don't know if you noticed. It was very silly. I've never seen a suit jacket without lapels.
They are Lil Albert and the Two-Tones.
Yes, exactly. Most of this opening scene is very much the music is happening on stage, and while that is happening, we are still hearing the singing, but scenes are happening backstage around it. And this happens a lot in this musical, where songs are happening, and then interspersed within the songs are other scenes.
That are either happening at the same time backstage, or are character development
Exactly,
scenes.
flash forward, flashbacks, etc. So the girl from earlier who said that she was late comes in and she bumps into Jamie Foxx, and surprise, it's Beyonce. Beyonce's running late.
Surprise! She introduces herself as Dina Jones, and she is one of the girls in a girl group, the Dreamettes. And she's late. She's late because her mama wouldn't fall asleep and she had to sneak out to get there.
Exactly. And the show manager or whatever, or who is Jaleel White, by the way, says that she can't go on, and Jamie pulls him aside and convinces him to do it, and so they are going on last after Tiny.
Jamie Foxx also has introduced himself now. His name is Curtis Taylor.
Yes.
Another one of the Dreamettes arrives. This is Laurel Robinson. And the third girl, Effie, is late. But she shows up when they're in the dressing room, and she's got a diva attitude.
Yep. You know, she walks in, she's like, "Where is my dressing room?" Beyonce's like, "We're on in 2 minutes, so let's warm up, shall we?"
The Dreamettes come out on stage, and they perform the song Move Out of My Life. It is very clearly Effie is the star singer. She's got an incredible voice. Dina and Laurel are her backup singers, but are also just as important. And they kill this song. Kill this song. We are 3 minutes into this movie.
I was about
and the audience loves it, and Curtis is off stage and is just seeing like literal dollar signs as these girls perform. And the judges are impressed as well.
She gets a standing ovation halfway through the song because she has this phenomenal belt moment. And then the song finishes and there's a huge ovation. Congrats, you did such a good job. Then we cut to seeing Jamie Foxx, aka Curtis, bribe the announcer to make sure that the Dreamettes do not win.
5 dimes, the Dreamettes don't win.
Indeed. The guy says they weren't going to win anyway.
So after the awards ceremony, the Dreamettes, they thought they were going to win. They thought they had it in the bag. Tiny wins instead. They get off stage, and Dina, who is Beyonce, just wants to quit. Says, like, "Effie, you're, like, the best singer I've ever heard, and it's still not good enough."
Which, let me tell you how crazy it is. Beyonce turning to another person and saying, "No one can sing as good as you."
We meet Cece, who is Effie's brother and is also the choreographer and songwriter for the group. And she goes like, "No one can write songs like you, choreograph dances like you. And like, it's still not good enough. So what is the point of all of this?"
So Curtis has been watching this and interrupts them and says that he's there to give them a break. He will give them $30 each to sing behind Jimmy Early tonight and $400 a week for 10 weeks on the road. Now, knowing now that he has absolutely nothing to do with Jimmy Early, that is a hell of a promise to make.
And he like comes out of the shadows and promises them this wild,
just young and dumb and easy to trick.
But it's because he's overheard Marty's been trying to find anyone that will be Jimmy Early's backup singers, so he knows there's a need. Effie says she doesn't do backup, and she thinks singing backup is a trap, and she doesn't want to accept his offer.
So Jamie Foxx says, "I get it, you're talented, you're sexy, but you need someone who's on your side. You need someone who's working for you." He's kind of flirting and Effie's kind of into him, and so she agrees to him being their manager, and they're going to sing backup for Jimmy Early. Now this is a big deal because Jimmy Early is pretty famous. He has a pretty big following amongst the Black community at this point, though he hasn't quite broken over to white pop charts. Breaking into sort of the white music listenership is a huge plot point throughout this movie. This movie is based throughout the late 50s all the way through to the early 70s. So it's the entire 60s.
And very much inspired by the career paths of the Supremes. Cut to surprise, Jimmy Early is played by Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, I love him. Man.
Marty is backstage with Jimmy Early saying, like, I can't find any backup singers for you because no one wants to work with you because you just have sex with them. Because you're a chauvinistic man. Curtis comes in. He's like, I've solved your problem. I have 3 girls who are ready to work for you. And Eddie Murphy says, I don't work with 3 girls. I work with 2, no dice. And there's a lovely walk and talk scene of Jimmy Early, Marty, and Curtis as they go over and like up through a lift to the performance space. We find out that Curtis also runs a car dealership.
Yep.
Jimmy
Cadillac
Early
cars.
is like, yeah, you sold me my Cadillac, right? So clearly Curtis is not the big shot talent manager that he pretends to be. But as they come up through this lift, Jimmy Early sees the Dreamettes and he goes, you know what? 3 girls will work just fine.
This'll be just fine, thank you. And he goes over to them, and they're all sort of a little bit overwhelmed by his star power and his very aggressive flirtiness. But he sort of pins in on, now I lost her name. I did not hear her name whenever it started.
Laurel.
Yes, I just called her Giggles a lot in my note because she does nothing but sort of like nervously, flirtily giggle for this first scene. So anyway, so Laurel, he pins in on her and grabs her hand and it's just like, thank you so much. Is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything I can do for you? And she's like, can you teach me the song?
That I have to sing for you in a couple hours?
An hour?
And that song is Fake Your Way to the Top.
Yes.
They perform it and they kill it. They absolutely kill it. I love this song.
It's such a fun... All of these songs are so fun. And I had forgotten how many of these songs I knew. So whenever later on, like a lot more of the solos come up, I had forgotten these songs. But then in watching them, I was like, oh my God, that's where this is from. I completely had blanked.
Oh, I owned this soundtrack. I knew every single song. I've only seen this movie once, but I knew every single song. We get a montage of them going on tour. It's a lot of motels and America and performance clips. And Jimmy and Laurel are constantly making eyes at each other. And Effie looks bored.
Oh, yeah.
At every performance, knowing that she's got this star power and she's stuck singing backup where she didn't want to be.
And a little bit of her diva quality. She is a bit of a diva, expecting everyone to bow down before her talent, even though that's not where she's at right now in her career. There's a moment where on the bus at night, Jimmy tries to go and talk to Laurel, but they have a chaperone for the girls, and she stops him.
But later, on a different night, Laurel sneaks back to the back of the bus because the chaperone has fallen asleep to be with Jimmy, and they kiss up on each other, and Laurel knows he's married, and when he doesn't make a big deal about him being married, she pushes him off and walks back to the front of the bus.
It says, get your married hands off.
Jimmy's like, I gotta keep working on this. Cut to, we see Curtis's car dealership for the first time. He is selling a couple a car, and a big truck pulls in. He excuses himself, and they open up the back of the truck, and it's got a piano inside.
So we cut to the Dreamgirls are in a jazz club, and Beyonce tells Effie that she should be more shy to get boys to like her. I've heard that before. And Effie responded much as I did. Then Curtis comes over and Effie starts being very forward and asks him if he cheats on his wife like Jimmy. He says he's divorced and Effie is very pleased to hear this and asks if his ex was twiggy like Beyonce or thick like her. And he says he was raised by his 2 sisters who were thick. And he walks off and Effie laughs.
We pan over to Jimmy, who is sitting with Marty, and Jimmy is complaining that his act isn't killing it like it used to. Like, during the montage, there's a bit in his act where he faints, and the girls, like, come over and fan at him, and he's like, that used to slay the audience, and it's not doing what it used to. Curtis says that Jimmy needs...
a new sound.
New oil? I wrote new oil.
Maybe he was doing like a car.
I don't know if that's a typo or a car metaphor.
I think it was a car metaphor.
Anyway, he introduces Cece, who is Effie's brother and the prior songwriter and choreographer, and he offers to have Cece write some songs for Jimmy, but Jimmy says his songs need soul, and Cece just doesn't have that in his music. So Cece walks over to the piano and starts playing Cadillac Car, and the girls join in as the backup singers for Marty and Jimmy to hear. Marty is not feeling it, but Jimmy says, you know what, let's try it.
Cut to them recording this song.
And surprise, Curtis has turned his car dealership into a recording studio.
Rough around the edges.
Yeah, like they are still fixing cars.
So they're just like, okay, we're gonna start recording, everyone stop working. So they start recording it. And it sounds pretty good. And we see a lot of montage of them, of it getting played. And the girls are in the car on a bridge at one point and they hear the song on the radio and they're so excited because it's their song and it's on the radio. Mm-hmm. But it cuts out as they're crossing the bridge because it's only black radio stations that's playing it. But so they do a full U-turn on this snowy bridge to get back into distance of the radio broadcast. It was very funny.
Immediately it's like number 8 on the R&B charts, and it starts at number 98 on the pop charts, and there's a montage of it getting higher on the charts. First it's in the 60s, then it's in the 30s, but then
cut to the white version.
Some white group comes in and covers the song and essentially steals it. The band is Dave and the Sweethearts. They cover it. Their cover is very successful. They do it on television and the girls see it performed on television, and it's just devastating.
Cut to Jamie Foxx brooding. Cece drives up and starts yelling that they stole his song, and we get our first song that's not within the context of a performance.
Yes. Wait, before we get into it, I wrote something down specifically for you, Grace. So Cece is mad, and he says that Jimmy or Marty should have protected them, the girls, Cece's songs, and Curtis goes, "Wake up, brother. The only one that can protect you is me." And then he takes his cigarette and throws it in a puddle, and I had a flashback to Across the Universe of what's-his-face throwing the cigarette in the bush. And I was like, oh, I hope that extinguished her. Grace is going to be mad.
No, because it wasn't in actual foliage. It was into a puddle. That's fine.
We got a little But now it's history time with Curtis during the song Step Into the Bad Side. Curtis takes Cece through all these hit songs that they know from pop stations, and surprise, they were all sung by black artists and were covered and subsequently, like, thus stolen by the white artists.
Which is history.
I think the example is it Jailhouse Rock, or it's an Elvis song?
Hound Dog.
It's Hound Dog. That was one of the examples where it's like, no, it was first performed by this female black artist. And Curtis says they want to befriend the top DJs in the country, but it's a pay-to-play setup, and it takes money that they don't have. During all of this, we get the song Step Into the Bad Side.
Ugh, so good.
And as you said, it's our first real musical plot development song where it's not a performance. We see characters singing this as the plot develops, and it moves the plot forward.
Exactly. Curtis decides he needs to get some money. So he puts all of his cars on sale. It's a big everything's gotta go sale. And he uses that money and goes to gangsters! There are more gangsters in this movie, though they do not make much of an appearance.
God, every movie
has to have one gangster. I can't wait until we get Fiddler on the Roof and see the gangsters. So he bets and gambles his money with these people, and he wins. He bets on a fight, and he wins. So he has a decent amount of money, and so he starts bribing radio stations, basically payola.
Wait, okay. Beep boop bop. Very quick. Dramaturgy, history insert.
Yes.
I want to discuss what a payola is because it comes up a lot.
Yes. So to give a little context, payola is, in the music industry, it's an illegal practice of paying a commercial radio station to play a song without the station disclosing the information. So under U.S. law, a radio station must disclose songs that they were paid to play on the air as sponsored airtime, because the number of times that songs are played on the radio can influence popularity of a song. And so this is moderated by the FCC, which is the Federal Communications Commission, and they treat it as a violation of the sponsorship identification rules, which requires that any broadcast of paid material include a disclosure, which is why at the end of political ads, it's like, this ad was paid for by this person and I approve this message. So that's why we have that. And it was a huge thing that was happening a lot, especially when radio was the time that music was getting known before we had CDs and Spotify and all of that. So it was a really big problem. Now, these restrictions started in like 1930. At this point in the timeline, in the late 50s, early 60s, the law was very much in place. So what Curtis is doing is illegal. But everyone's doing it, and it's really, truly the only way to get your things played if you're not already famous.
So we see Curtis going to DJs all over and paying these payolas. Kenny keeps a record of like 250 to this station, 300 to this station. And in 1950, that was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. We also see during this song, Cece rehearsing choreography with a bunch of new male backup dancers. And it means that they're going to play this huge show, and it turns out it's the Apollo.
Yeah, we get a nice little overlap of radio being like, and next up, we have Step Into the Bad Side. Now your number one hit culminates in the announcement of Jimmy Early and the Dreamettes at the Apollo Theater to perform their number one single, Step Into the Bad Side.
And it's a great song. It's a lot of fun. There's some great tambourine dancing. This is sort of also the first, like, true dancing and not just, like, Supreme's Temptations, like, do-wop dancing.
Jimmy Early's microphone is shaped like a gun.
I didn't notice that.
Which is a nice, funny little detail. We see a record being made, and we hear overlapped audio of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. We see that Rainbow Records is now official, which is Curtis's record label. It is no longer a car dealership, it is a record label.
Yep.
And they are printing the Martin Luther King speech as a record. We see Effie storm into Curtis's office, and she makes a fuss that no one's heard of Martin Luther King, and he gets his own album, and she doesn't have her own album.
And she says, I mean, can he even sing?
Surprise, it's all a joke. Effie knows who Martin Luther King is.
So funny.
And we see Effie really leaning on Curtis and, like, clearly crushing on Curtis.
Well, and their relationship has obviously progressed somewhat, though it's not clear to what extent.
Yeah. That takes us into, we see Effie in the recording studio with Cece and a band, not really recording, like there's no microphone near her, but performing Love You, I Do, which is a new Cece song.
I think it's just a rehearsal. I don't think they're recording.
Ah.
So interspersed with this, we see Curtis going outside, and there's a lot of people cheering around outside the door, so it's obvious that they're getting a bit of notoriety, at least within their neighborhood. This is all based in Detroit, by the way. And, you know, he's saying that he needs someone who can type, and a girl comes forward with press-on nails, and he's like, what is this? And she just flicks them off, and so she gets a job.
Flicks them off.
It's very funny.
We also see Dina in a dressing room trying on, like, a new fancier dress that will be, like, one of the performance dresses, and Curtis is there and kind of looking at her.
And she
a little bit of heart eyes.
looks at him, and then we go and we see Curtis walks into Effie rehearsing, so over all of this, Effie has been singing, and she starts singing to him, you know, you're the perfect man for me, I love you, I do, and she kisses him at the end, and it's not a first kiss.
Surprise.
Yeah, so obviously they're in some sort of relationship. And they ask what he thinks, and Curtis says the song is a bit too light. So Effie starts asking, you know, when's she gonna stop being backup? And it's always soon, I promise. You got a voice, it'll be soon. And they will talk about it more tonight.
Marty shows up and is mad because Marty was away for a week, and Curtis kind of went behind his back and canceled some tour dates.
Yeah.
Because Curtis wants Jimmy to play in Miami, which is a bigger venue, bigger step, whiter audience. And Marty says, no, it's too white. It's not gonna go well.
They've never had a black performer there.
But Curtis wants to dream bigger for Jimmy.
Curtis reveals that he got Jimmy an audition.
But Jimmy is there. And Marty says, you know what? We're not doing nothing. Me and Curtis, we are doing nothing. Jimmy is mine. Jimmy is my client. But Jimmy wants to dream bigger with Curtis, so Marty quits and tells Jimmy that he can't have it all.
And Jimmy, I think it's the first time he's been told no in a really long time, and he's a little bit shocked, but he ends up sticking with Curtis. Cut to Miami, Jimmy is introduced as the first black guy to play there, and it's a much chiller song. Like, it's not his usual raucous song. I think it's called Baby.
It's called I Want You, Baby. Clearly catered to the clientele. The crowd isn't
not feeling it. He's doing a lot of hip thrusting and, you know, pointing at white ladies and saying, I want you, and they get uncomfortable.
I think Jimmy can tell that it's not going well, so Jimmy does what he knows he does well, and he like turns on the charm. He pushes too hard. He tries to do what he knows how to do and what he has known to be successful, but it doesn't work with this crowd, and it just makes them more uncomfortable. During this, we also get a clip of Jimmy and Laurel in bed together, so they have started having an affair. The performance doesn't go over well, but during this, Curtis sees a young white man in the audience eyeing Dina, and he kind of gets a little light bulb moment you see in his eyes.
So we cut to backstage, and Laurel says she's 18, so she's a woman now, and she slept with Jimmy, and I feel like a parent in a Disney movie where I'm just like, oh my god, go back to your room. And Effie comes in and defends Laurel, and she's just like, you know, I'm in love, she's in love is in the air, you're just jealous. And Curtis comes in.
Dina's like, no, I'm not.
No, she was like, who was the guy that they were talking to? Are we going to get to play American Bandstand? Like, she's very focused on the career aspect. So Curtis comes in and reveals to them that they aren't going to play the Copacabana and they aren't going to do the bandstand because he's breaking them up from Jimmy.
And Laurel has a full, all 18 years old, like 105 pounds of her is like, you're just doing this, you're trying to keep me and Jimmy apart.
You're just
you
jealous.
Don't believe in love.
And his face
is like, what? No.
His face is so funny. I'm just like, I don't think he's ever been around an 18-year-old girl who's been like this, and he's just like, no, it's because I got you a job. So he's like, no, I got you your own act here. And she's like, oh, that's fine then.
Yeah, I don't need Jimmy. I don't need a man.
No, she's
so
fine.
They're going to stay in Miami and headline their own act without Jimmy. But there's a catch.
So he says, new wigs, new costume, new choreo, but Effie, we're going to have Dina sing lead. And Effie is upset.
Cece's there, and he says, it's only temporary. Just trying something new. Dina says that she doesn't want to. Like, she's clearly uncomfortable being thrust into the middle of this.
Because she knows what Effie's like.
Laurel's like, what's wrong with sitting back up? Like,
let Dina do all the work.
Yeah. And what's not explicitly said, but is definitely the implication, is that Curtis is making this decision because Dina is slimmer, more conventionally attractive, and has a broader, more marketable
appeal,
voice.
Yeah. And Effie is a big, thick, curvy black woman and has a voice that has a lot of personality and is hard to mold. But Effie's very hurt about this, especially because she and Curtis are together. So she's like, am I ugly to you? And he's like, it isn't personal. And she's like, you know, she has the beauty, but I have the voice of this group. Cece tells her that her voice is just too special.
Effie leaves the dressing room and she goes out onto the empty stage now. The show's over. Cece comes and he sings after her and essentially being like, you're being selfish. This is bigger than you. This is a chance for all of us.
Do it for the family.
Yeah, that they sing the song Family, and Effie ultimately agrees to try this new path. They're also being rebranded.
Yes, as the Dreams.
They're not going to be the Dreamettes. The Dreamettes were girls. They're going to be the Dreams because they're women now.
Exactly. So we cut to their performance, which is the song Dreamgirls. It goes really, really well. Oh my goodness. Though I will say, I have a real gripe and then I have like a fake gripe, and this is my fake gripe. Dina is holding a corded mic and then spins in a circle and then walks away. And I'm like, no. That cord is now wrapped around your knees, my lady. You can't walk anywhere.
I also clocked that. I was like, that is not possible. But the performance is much glamor than previous ones. They have newer dresses, newer wigs, more dramatic makeup. Like, production value has skyrocketed.
Gone through the roof. So they're a big hit, and they're on the cover of all the magazines. We have this montage of them traveling, and they, like, have a thing with the Beatles.
We also see montages and clips of them performing, not just, like, the popularity in the magazine covers, and we see that Effie is not happy singing backup. And they are also now called Dina Jones and the Dreams.
Through this, we also see Jimmy seeing them on TV, and he's upset, and he does coke about it. He's obviously started into his drugs. It's no longer just alcohol.
He's falling behind. His career is falling behind, and he's reliving his heyday, like talking to people at a club, and he turns to drugs. We also see Effie seeing Curtis falling for Dina.
So, I hope you all did your homework in Across the Universe, because we go back to the 1967 Detroit riots.
There will be a quiz.
There will be a quiz. So, we see a lot of images of the riots that were happening, the police brutality, the destruction of buildings, and during this riot, Curtis is forcing the girls to record a new song, which is called Heavy. And they have a much more mod look at this point, like their look is changing from the late 50s, early 60s into sort of mid-60s into late 60s.
The hairstyles are changing, the makeup is changing, yeah.
So they're singing Heavy, and Curtis interrupts and says that Effie is being too loud. She needs to tone it down. And then he sort of sweet talks Dina and is like, "You're doing great. Can you give me just one more take? Thank you so much. You're doing awesome." And then he turns to Effie and is just like, "Tone it down," and then leaves.
Knock it off.
So Effie sings even louder.
She fully just steps into the front of the microphone, takes over. She keeps acting out. Curtis comes back into the recording booth, and she storms off. He's like, "Where are you going?" And she confronts him for sleeping with Dina. As she's like, "Everyone knows it."
Yep.
And she storms out of the recording studio directly into a riot.
They see a guy coming by with a gun, and Curtis comes out and he yells, "It's a black-owned business, it's a black-owned business," and they continue driving by. It's a very scary sequence, and at one point, near the end of the sequence, she turns to Curtis and says that she doesn't feel so good, and it's a bit of a foreshadowing for what is coming next. So, cut to the making of a music video for Heavy, and Effie is not feeling it. No emotion on her face, upset. And Effie keeps side-eyeing at Dina. She keeps like sort of glaring at her because she's sort of living in the spotlight.
And clearly the cameras are favoring her. Like we briefly see inside the booth and they're like zoom in on that, leaving the Laurel and Effie just like cut out of the video.
And we see Curtis directing exactly that to happen, so he tells the camera to move off of the backup singers. And so Effie walks off in the middle of recording this.
I wasn't sure if this was a live TV performance.
I wasn't sure either.
First. They're making a music video.
But because Beyonce Dina immediately follows her out as well, I'm like, oh, it must have been a recording. Like, it wasn't a live thing.
This is not live.
No.
And also, once they got out of clearly like the sound stage and they were on the lot, I was like, okay, this isn't a live studio audience. But so they get into the hallway outside the sound stage. Curtis comes out, Effie is there, Laurel is there, Dina is there, and Curtis confronts Effie about being unprofessional. She challenges him, and she yells super loud that Curtis is sleeping with Dina, and she tells Dina, "You stole my career and my man." And Curtis doesn't do anything.
No, he tells her to back off, and she fully stands up to that and says, "Or what?" And when he doesn't say anything, she says, "I didn't think so," and she walks away.
Cut to, we see Dina and Laurel practicing without Effie. It's for a New Year's Eve performance at Caesar's Palace in Vegas. This is a big deal.
Yes.
But Effie's not there. We see Effie very briefly at a doctor's office. She's talking to the receptionist and she walks out, and she shows up to the rehearsal, obviously late. Laurel and Dina are now in costume. And Effie's like, "I wasn't feeling well, but I'm here. I went to the doctor. I feel better. Let me go change into my costume." But surprise, a new girl walks out, and we hear her saying, "I know the choreography. I just need to be a little more clear on like some of the backup stuff." And surprise, Effie's been replaced.
And I wrote down, "Here we go." This whole sequence.
Oh. It's not clear, but this girl that replaces Effie is Michelle, who was the girl that Curtis pulled out of the crowd.
Was that her? I thought it was.
Fully Curtis's secretary, who is a fantastic singer.
Surprise.
But here we go.
Ugh. So here we have the confrontation that leads into the big number. So the confrontation is between Effie, Cece, Laurel, Dina, and Curtis. And poor Michelle is just first day on the job. So it starts with Curtis saying, you should have seen this coming. I've been giving you warnings. You're mean. And he tells her that she's been getting fat, and it's brutal.
This is the song It's All Over.
I wasn't sure what the song was called because it's just
great
a lot
number.
of sung arguments. It's not like there's a refrain until the very, very end. So then Dina starts in on her too, and Laurel tries to break them up, but then Effie starts, her feelings are starting to come out and she's lashing out, and so they start calling her out on her behavior, and poor Michelle is like, this isn't about me, this is none of my business, I just got asked to do this. But then Effie calls her a whore, and so she calls her a second-rate diva. It's just like a whole mishagog of awful.
Yeah, Michelle gives it back. Effie starts to go in on her. Michelle's like, hold on.
Whoa.
1 second, ma'am. Whoa. This is the first time Effie... That's not true. I was going to say this is the first time Effie's been called on her bullshit. This is like a major moment of Effie being called on her behavior.
This is the first time I think she felt actual consequences.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone walks out and tells her it's over.
That is the moment of an actual like chorus or refrain of this big argument song of them telling her it's all over, like the damage is done. You have to face the consequences of your actions.
Yes.
And they leave her alone with Curtis.
And then begins the song. And I am telling you, and Anna, I wept. It's so good. A little bit about the filming of this. It was the last thing that they filmed, and it took them 4 days because they wanted her to have as much time with the character as possible before they filmed this number, which is like the ultimate. It's like if you know one song from Dreamgirls, you know this song. And they had to do it over 4 days because it's such an emotionally taxing and vocally taxing song that after 4 hours of filming, Jennifer Hudson went hoarse and she couldn't lip sync while she was hoarse.
They pre-recorded it in a studio just for continuity, but I believe she was singing during every take.
Yes.
And that is why she became hoarse and couldn't lip sync it. So it took them 4 days to achieve this incredible pièce de résistance of a song.
I started crying because I miss watching theater.
Oh, don't get me started. The song is essentially Effie begging Curtis to not...
Exactly.
Like, she's not going anywhere. She's begging him to love her. We get that very famous, big final note. Curtis has walked out. She is alone.
Ugh.
Oh, that big final note. And it immediately cuts to Dina and the Dreams, including new girl Michelle, performing without her at Caesar's Palace, leaving her behind.
Intermission! That's the closing of Act 1. Hot damn.
Yeah. Oh, I've never seen this live.
I haven't either. I really want to. I've heard people sing that song live, and it's chills every time, but man.
The soundtrack is broken into acts, which is how I knew that was Act 1. I think it was like a 2-disc CD pack when I owned it. So it was like CD for Act 1, CD for Act 2. All right. Act 2 opens with the song I'm Somebody. We see Dina smoking a cigarette in a viewing room, watching like a movie about her life that's being made.
I think it's like a TV spot or like a promo vid or something.
Yeah, the Dina Jones story.
And it shows some pictures of her and Laurel and a photoshopped in Michelle of them whenever they were younger.
Yeah. Effie has been completely scrubbed from the narrative.
Yes.
We also learn it's been 6 years since that Caesar's Palace performance. Since then, Curtis and Dina have gotten married. Curtis has built a music empire with Rainbow Records, and he has other clients.
One of them is very much a Jackson 5-esque.
Oh, yeah. They're called
group.
like the Campbell something. So Dina's clearly watching this first cut of this TV movie for the first time, and in it, a plot point is like, and next for Dina Jones is she's going to be starring in a movie about Cleopatra. This is something Curtis has wanted.
it sells it as it hasn't been finalized yet, but I think they did this TV spot to try and like drum up support for it so that it would happen.
In this moment, Dina hasn't realized that like it's going to be part of this TV movie.
Right.
Clearly, like based on her face, doesn't want to do this movie.
Right.
She goes to Curtis and essentially tells him that, saying, oh, one of the points is she's like, I don't want to do this. Like Cleopatra, for one thing, is like supposed to be 16 for most of the movie.
Yeah.
And he says, baby, you'll always be 16 to me.
Yikes.
Gross. And she says, maybe you don't see me for who I am. I think it's just important to realize, like, in this scene, in the beginning of Act 2, she's probably, like, late 20s, early 30s. Like, it is a valid thing where she's like, I don't want to be in a movie where she's supposed to be 16. Like, the fact that Curtis is like, you'll always be 16 to me, like, that is not who she is anymore. Curtis sings to her, When I First Saw You, which is a beautiful song about his love for her. The gist of the song is like, when I first saw you, that's my dream.
Yes,
this
you're
person
my
right
dream.
here is my dream. And it's a sweet sentiment, but like maybe he's seeing her, or maybe he's just seeing dollar signs. Unclear.
And especially since he originally started flirting with Effie, it doesn't quite ring true just based on what we know about his history with Dina and Effie.
Also, during this song, they're having like an intimate moment in bed, and Dina says that she wants a baby with Curtis, and Curtis doesn't want that. And if he's still really thinking of her as like a vehicle for her career, a baby would throw a big wrench into that.
Exactly. Cut to Effie in an unemployment office, and we see her with her daughter, whose name is Magic. So she's talking to the employee there, and she says that she hasn't looked for a job because the only thing she knows how to do is sing. The officer there asks if, she can ask for help from Magic's father, and she says that Magic doesn't have a father, so it's very obvious that she is fully cut off that side of her life. She's not in contact with anyone. Cut to Cece. He starts singing a song called Patience. He's presenting it to Jimmy, and throughout this, there are interspersed shots of sort of the wreckage of Detroit after the riots. And the song is a reference to the civil rights movement that was happening at the time. Throughout this, we see Effie on a bus in Detroit. She drives by the old recording studio, which is all closed up. She gets a card from Cece with money in it, but she refuses it.
Rainbow Records has since moved to LA and is like a big studio out.
We cut back to Jimmy recording Patience with Laurel, and it's obvious that they're in some sort of relationship at this point, that they have been in a relationship for all this time. And it looks like Cece is with the third girl, which is Michelle. So Michelle and Cece are now a couple as well. So everyone's sort of paired off, Jimmy with Laurel, Dina with Curtis, and Cece with Michelle.
At the end of this song, we see Effie sitting in an office. The door opens to the office, and surprise, it's Marty. Effie has gone to visit Marty, Jimmy's former manager.
Yeah.
And it's a moment of like, it's good to see you. We don't know why she's there yet.
I mean, I assumed that she was making a commitment to actually look for work, and by that going to like one of the few managers she actually knew.
We cut to back to LA, a classic LA Christmas pool party.
Yeah.
But inside Curtis's and Dina's home, like big glass wall mansion, inside this office in the house, we see Curtis listening to a record of the Patience recording with Jimmy, Laurel, Michelle, and Cece kind of like sitting there with bated breath to see what he thinks of it. Curtis says it's good, but he doesn't like it. It feels like a message song. And he says he doesn't care about the music if it makes you feel. Music is supposed to sell, which is such a turnaround from his priorities at the beginning of this movie.
I don't know if it is. I think it's just clarifying it. I would say that he was always about the money.
That's fair.
I think it's just the first time that like Cece is now seeing it, because he's gotten enough success now that he can sort of see past the green of money.
But Curtis shoots the song down, and Jimmy says like, but you're always telling me I need a new song, I need a new thing. And Curtis is like, not this. Curtis leaves. Jimmy pulls out his drugs.
Yeah. Heroin.
Clearly, Jimmy's drug problem has continued since we first saw him doing coke in that club. Michelle tries to get him to stop, but he won't. So she's like, I don't want to be here for this. And she leaves. We don't see Jimmy shoot up heroin, but that is very
Heavily
much
implied,
the implication.
Yeah. So cut to Marty advocating for Effie at a club. The club owner, whose name I think is Max, and Marty were old friends, and they're chatting. Marty says, listen to her just for old times, but the club owner isn't really feeling it. And so Effie shows up late and is a bit of a diva. She says she doesn't like the piano player, she only likes the other guy. Marty tells her that she has to start proving herself. She can't just not do it.
Yeah, Marty says, maybe Curtis was right. You want all the privileges and none of the responsibilities.
Ouch. Brutal.
Also, I want to say, before we go inside the club, we do see Effie standing outside the club, and she makes an excuse when she comes in. She's like, the babysitter was late. Mm-hmm. I think she was nervous to go inside.
I agree with that. I think that she hasn't actually sung, publicly since she left the Dreams. And so I think this is a really hard step for her.
Especially, she goes in, she starts kind of doing her old behavior of I don't want, where's the pianist I wanted? And Marty calls her on her shit. It's this is your one shot. I have been all over this town trying to get anyone to give you a shot. So Effie's like, do you know the song to the pianist? Pianist is great, by the way. Justice for this pianist. And Effie sings the song, I Am Changing, a great character development performance song. And we shift from her performing it in the club just for the club owner and Marty to, whatever night she performed on for, a full house. The audience loves her. She clearly has a lot more confidence now. It's the same club. She hasn't gone to a better club. This is kind of the only club right now, and it's small and it's dingy, but it works. Smash cut to the Rainbow Records 10th anniversary TV special.
Yeah.
Talk about different worlds.
Oh man.
We see the Jackson 5 similar group, they're called the Campbell Connection.
That's what it is.
And they are performing. While they sing, we go backstage to Jimmy and Laurel. Mm-hmm. Jimmy is high, and Laurel was like, I thought you weren't going to do that tonight. But Jimmy admits it's because his wife is here.
Yike.
And Laurel did not expect that.
And so she starts drinking too. She tells him it's their anniversary and she wants to give him a kiss for every year that they've been together. Turns out they've been together for 8 years. And it's very sweet. And then she says, of unmarried life, and it is no longer sweet. So obviously this is a conversation they've had before.
Jimmy has been saying he would leave his wife for Laurel for probably 8 years.
Yeah.
He also didn't remember it was their anniversary. But he goes out on stage. You want to talk about his performance?
Oh, man. So he goes out. He starts to sing the song, I Meant You No Harm. A lot of these songs that they sing are very indicative of the character's emotional moment. And so he tries to sing this song both to his wife in the audience and to Laurel on the side of the stage, but they both notice that he's singing to two people and both of them are not happy with it. Understandably. He then stops the song and says he's done with sad songs. This is in the middle of a live televised performance. And he says, I'm done with sad songs. And he goes to the band and tells them to follow him and he starts scatting. And it's a much bumpier, jazzier feel. It sounds like his original stuff that we first heard him do. And the crowd is kind of about it, but Curtis is not.
Yeah, Curtis is in the audience and is like, what
is going on? He starts rapping, and it's called Jimmy Want More. His wife is upset. She's the only one in the audience that isn't digging it, and I think she knows because this is gonna turn badly.
Off script.
Oh, yeah. And Jimmy starts taking off his clothes. First, it's just his suit jacket, which he did before, and we've seen him do that in performances, so that's, not too bad, but then he starts unbuttoning his shirt. We see Curtis leave and go backstage, and it culminates with Jimmy fully taking off his pants. He still has underwear on, but taking off his pants on live TV, and the feed is cut. Yikes.
They pull him off the air. Jimmy leaves the stage thinking he's done, a great thing.
Yeah.
Curtis is immediately there backstage, and he tells him he's made a fool of himself, and he fires him from the label.
At first, Laurel kind of defends Jimmy, but then calls him out for being a fool and dropping his pants on live TV.
Laurel says to Curtis, he's like, Jimmy has been asking you for a new sound for years. You keep ignoring him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was bound to act out. And then she turns to Jimmy, he's like, but you made a fool of yourself. That was a bad call.
Yep.
Laurel tries to leave, and Jimmy tells her not to leave. Laurel sings the song Laurel Loves Jimmy, which culminates in, like, she loves him, but they are through. She walks away as Jimmy's wife comes backstage, and she sees Laurel. They look at each other. Laurel walks away. Jimmy sees his wife.
Yes. The Dreams and Dina go on, and they start singing We Are a Family. And you can see Cece in the audience having that song hit him, because the last time we heard it was whenever they were singing to Effie. You see sort of sad or guilty emotions on his face.
Yeah, and also, like, the song means something different now. The song before was like, hang in there, we've got to do this together. And instead now, it's just like a big commercial song, and it's a feel-good song for the audience and not for the characters.
Exactly.
And also, Effie's not on stage. Michelle's there. And
Cece was the only one in that group that's actually related to Effie. So it's even more heart-wrenching, I think, for him.
In terms of literal family.
Literal family.
It's not the same.
Cut to John Lithgow and John Krasinski.
Dina is at a meeting at a hotel.
I thought it was her house.
I thought I saw people in the background. It's not important. They're by a pool. It's very LA.
Yes.
She's taking a meeting with some movie producers who are played by John Lithgow and John Krasinski.
Yep.
Because she wants to do their movie. They tell her, essentially, she's too beautiful for that job.
And it's a bit of a grittier movie. Like, there's a moment where the character goes down on a truck driver. Like, it would be off-brand for the Dina Jones brand that has been created.
The glam, perfect.
America's sweetheart, they call her.
Flawless, yeah. But Dina really wants to do this. However, she says that the character needs work. She's like, I've never met a woman of color named Dawn. That's got to change.
And John
Krasinski is the screenwriter. And he's like, I've been working on this script for a year. I don't even know the names of these producers, so I'm going to call them by their actor names. John Lithgow kind of calls Dina out for taking this movie meeting without Curtis knowing. Because Curtis is still trying to get that Cleopatra movie made. And John Lithgow implies that, like, maybe in order to do that, Curtis has gotten some mob money loans invested because he's having a hard time getting that movie made.
Right. Dina says that Curtis is focusing on the music right now and she will do this on her own.
Yeah, kind of like a what he doesn't know won't kill him.
Cut to Curtis.
Curtis's office. We hear the song Step On Over being played, which is the next song that Curtis wants a band on his label to do. Cece is in this meeting and he storms out. Step On Over definitely has a bigger disco vibe as we move into that era of music, and Cece does not like it, and he says he wants nothing to do with this new sound.
Because the sound distracts from the lyrics, which are the important part for him.
Whereas Curtis is like, if it makes me money, I want to do it. Just then, Laurel comes out screaming, sobbing from around the corner. And we cut to a TV report that Jimmy Early has died of a heroin overdose in a hotel.
Yes. And we see Laurel crying with Dina, saying that Jimmy's wife won't let her see him. Then we see Cece, Michelle, and Curtis watching the TV footage about it.
Curtis is watching the TV coverage of Jimmy, and he doesn't seem to have any remorse. The others feel that he is responsible partly for Jimmy's demise because he wasn't treated well by Curtis or respected. And Curtis is just like, this is not my fault.
Yeah.
And that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Cece tells him it's over. Curtis tells Michelle that Cece can quit, but she can't.
Cut to Effie and Magic climbing several flights of stairs to get to their apartment. Magic is obviously older. She's almost, I think she's like 9 now. Magic is asking, what's a wake? And obviously Jimmy's wake is about to happen. She's asked, why are you so slow? And so it's like, I'm old. That's why.
I'm old. Yeah.
They get to their apartment, and as Magic is about to enter, Cece comes out, and Effie runs away.
Does not want to see him.
Not at all.
And he chases after her. Cut to the club that Effie has been performing at. We have a jazz singer on stage singing the song I Miss You, Old Friend, and she kind of talks as she sings.
Yeah.
She clearly knew Jimmy from his earlier days, and she kind of tells some anecdotes about him. But Cece finds Effie in this club, and Effie tells him she doesn't want to see him, and she walks away, but he chases after her, and he wants to apologize. He was like, I was young, I made a mistake in terms of siding with Curtis and leaving Effie behind.
He says that he wants to write her a big song and...
like a hit song.
Yeah, and she says she doesn't need him, and he says that he needs her. He says he's sorry and that he's trying to change.
Cut to a recording studio. Effie is singing Cece's song. It is called One Night Only.
Ugh,
it's
so
a
good.
sad, slow, not sad, but it's a slow
Soulful.
R&B ballad.
Yeah.
Soulful. It's great. While the song plays, we see Effie, Cece, and Marty at a funeral. I'm assuming it's Jimmy's.
I am
but
too.
That's unclear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not a wake.
I think the wake was the performance, the Goodbye Old Friend. That was the wake.
The bar,
and then there's the
club.
funeral.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we have shots of them listening to it on the radio, so it's playing sort of how their original song was, sort of on mostly black-owned radio stations. And we see Magic listening to it, and she smiles. It's like the first time that she's heard her mom do something like this. It's awesome. And we see her singing it at a club.
During this song, we clearly see, like, Effie's starting to feel a little bit better about herself.
Yeah.
They're kind of viewing this song as a bit of a comeback. Cut to L.A., Curtis's office. He's been played Effie's song because it's mostly on local black-owned stations. And Curtis takes it way too personally and is like, they think they're trying to make a fool out of him because it's Effie and it's Cece. And he says that since Cece wrote the music, Curtis technically owns it.
Because Cece is still technically under contract.
The other guy, we never know his name, but his name is Wayne. He says that they can get a lawyer, they can demand half the royalties, and Curtis says no! He'll have Dina and the Dreams re-record it. Wayne tells Curtis not to do this because this is kind of Effie's big break and that's really petty.
Yeah.
But Curtis says, get it done.
Ugh.
And Curtis does this same payola thing as earlier to have Dina and the Dreams disco version of the song take over the charts. And we see DJs being paid to play the Dina version and physically throw the Effie version in the trash because Curtis is petty.
Yes. Okay, but we see the Dina version of this song, and their jumpsuits during this song are phenomenal.
So much body glitter.
So much body glitter. We also see Effie seeing their performance, and she is understandably upset.
Cut to LA. Curtis and Dina are having dinner at home.
He tells her that the Cleopatra movie is happening. She doesn't seem too thrilled about it. She says that she didn't actually think it would happen and that she's a bit tired. And he confronts her about the meeting that she had with John Lithgow and John Krasinski. She apologizes, but she says this is the perfect part for her for like her next step. That, you know, he knows music, but that movies are different, and he takes that personally.
And he's shitty about it.
Oh, he's a big dick about it. He tells her that the only reason he chose her to sing lead was because her voice had no personality except what he puts into it. Asshole. He says, you know, she can't do anything without his permission. She threatens to get a lawyer, but he says that'll never work because that'll take too long.
Yeah, he's like, do you read contracts or are you just pretty?
Yeah, exactly. And then he forgives her for her behavior. No way. Also, the amount of men speaking in third person in this movie is excessive, I will say.
Cut to Dina in a recording studio singing the song Listen.
I got so many chills with this song.
Oh, this is also a song, like, if you haven't seen this movie, you've probably heard this song. This song was actually, Beyonce's version of it was on, like, the top Billboard charts for months after this movie came out. This was a big commercial pop hit.
Because it's remarkable.
The song is about her not feeling heard or respected by Curtis. Over this song, we see Curtis and Dina doing Cleopatra press. He's into it. She is not. We also see her sneaking into Curtis's office, unlocking one of his drawers and finding Effie's One Night Only record and realizing what Curtis did because she didn't know.
I think what she was looking for was, since John Lithgow had mentioned that mob money was connected to the movie, I think that's what she goes looking for.
Or like she's looking for her contract to see if there's some loophole that she could maybe get out of. But she finds this record and she calls Effie. Dina's crying. Like, we don't hear this dialogue, but it's very much like I didn't know. I'm so sorry that this happened. The song ends. Curtis leaves the recording session of Listen to find this group, lawyer, Effie, Marty, and Cece in his office, and the lawyer tells Curtis that they're going to go to the feds to report his payola dealings, specifically for killing Effie's record, which is illegal, and he lists, like, he also falsified sale records to cheat investors, and merchandise was listed as something else to disguise fraud, and the mob loans, and the payola operation dating back 11 years. This was why I asked about payola earlier, because it was not until this moment that I was super clear how illegal it was.
It's super illegal.
So I was like, the FBI is going to get involved?
100%.
But the FBI absolutely would have gotten involved.
And this is, so for listeners, this is going to be my show note. There is a fantastic podcast that goes into a little bit of the history of payola, which I will plug at the end of this. So, the lawyer drops so much evidence, like it is very obvious that stuff was taken from his desk, and the only person who could have done it is Dina.
But also Cece's like, I was a witness to all of your dealings. I was there for all of it.
Exactly. Cut to outside the office, Dina and Effie are talking, and Dina apologizes, and it is revealed to Dina that Effie has a kid, and she thinks it's a baby, but Effie tells her that Magic is 9 years old, and Dina does the math and realizes that it is Curtis's kid. But as Curtis walks out, Effie tells Dina he doesn't know, so please don't tell him.
Yeah, Magic isn't there in this scene.
No.
They're just talking about her. Curtis comes in, and there's a great... do you remember the line?
He says
Curtis and Effie have a great little thing.
He says, it's like, you haven't changed at all, you're trouble like always. And she says, you haven't changed at all. Actually, you have. You've gained weight. And then she leaves. It was very funny.
And Curtis says he'll deal with Dina later. Mm-hmm. We see the lawyer and co walking out of the record label, and the lawyer tells Effie that Curtis agreed for a national distribution of Effie's record in order to avoid being reported to the FBI.
Right. And if he goes back on the deal, he'll go to jail.
Yeah. And Effie sings a very brief little song called Effie White's Gonna Win in Curtis's face.
It's so good. Cut to him getting home. And he walks in the door and yells for Dina, get your ass in here. And her mom walks out.
Surprise!
Surprise!
He's like, why are you here? And she goes, my daughter said she needed me.
So I came. Dina comes out and asks her to wait in the car. And Curtis tells her that she can't leave. And she says that she can and she will. And if he wants to sue her and take everything she has, he can. But she'll just start all over. If Effie can do it, so can I.
And Curtis begs her to stay. He's like, I love you, please stay. But she walks out, she leaves him, and we see Curtis standing alone in his mansion.
Yep.
Kind of like... My brain went to that gif of, like, wiping your tears away with your dollar bills. And, like, clearly Curtis is very torn up about this.
Yes.
But, like, he'll financially...
He'll be...
Well, actually, I don't know. Dina was his biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's unclear exactly how their breakup is going to influence his company.
We cut to a concert hall in Detroit. The marquee says, goodbye, final performance of Dina Jones and the Dreams. So clearly the band is breaking up.
Curtis arrives on the red carpet with a new girl, and he tries to sell her to the press, but they get distracted, so it's not quite the coming out party for this new star that he hoped for. So the girls start to sing. It's the final performance. The song is Hard to Say Goodbye.
And it's Dina, Michelle, and Laurel. And there's one moment where they're kind of like doing like a walk around the stage about like, I'll always love you. We're like, it's time to leave. And there's one shot of Dina looking directly at Curtis on the lyric, like, and I'll always love you. And it's implying that she is forgiving him. And I do not support it. And like, it's going to be okay between them.
I didn't get the implication that she was forgiving him. I get the implication sort of how the breakup with Jimmy happened, where it's like, listen, I'm always going to love you, but I have to make the choice that's best for me. And this is the best choice.
Yes, I didn't like how cool she was about it. I wanted her to be like, nope, fuck you, never seeing you again, you're a piece of shit. They finish the song, and Dina kind of speaks to the audience like, I can't believe we're here. We're going to sing the last song now, but before we do, you should all know that there aren't 3 dreams. There are 4. Surprise, Effie is there. They invite her out as the 4th dream.
Yes.
And they sing the song Dreamgirls.
Yeah, and Effie sings it to Magic. Curtis sees her doing that and sort of has a premonition and goes... Light bulb. And goes down to the main floor and stands next to Magic and realizes that that is his daughter.
As the final chorus sings, there's a big confetti explosion.
Boom!
And I got chills because the song, we didn't go too much into the lyrics, but the song is being like, I'll always be there in your dreams. The band is breaking up, but we'll be there always for you in your dreams, yada, yada, yada. Confetti explosion, boom, fade out, end of movie.
End of movie. Wow.
Wow.
So much happened.
What a good movie.
Such a good movie. I was talking to someone about this, and normally, like, whenever there's a musical number in a musical, especially whenever I'm taking notes, it's great, because it's like 3 to 4 minutes where I don't have to take a lot of notes, I just have to get the gist of the song, but not in this one. This one had cutscenes in the middle of a song that were crucial to plot.
They used every single bit.
They did, man.
Welcome to the Dramaturgy Report with Anna and Grace. We should make a little song for that so I don't have to sing it every episode. Anyway.
No, I like your song. You should sing it always.
Boo-doo-boo-doo-boo-boo. This film was directed and written by Bill Condon. I think I'm saying his last name right. He is awesome. He wrote so many things. He is a very well-known Hollywood film director and screenwriter. Sometimes he'll do both. Sometimes he'll just do one. So I'm going to list a bunch of notable films that he's worked on. There's a lot of overlap, so I'm not going to be like, directed these and wrote these. Just like, I'm going to give you a list. Okay. First off, the Dreamgirls was like a long lifetime dream of his to adapt it for the screen. This film has been in lots of potential different iterations. It changed studios, but it was Bill's dream to adapt it to the screen like for a long time. Other screenwriting and directing credits include, one of the earliest ones is the 1998 Ian McKellen film, Gods and Monsters. He also wrote the screenplay for Chicago.
Yeah.
Kinsey directed the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn's Part 1 and 2. The Fifth Estate, the 2017 Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
And he co-wrote the screenplay for Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
He has received 2 nominations for Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay, Gods and Monsters and Chicago, and he won for Gods and Monsters. Just like big old musical theater nerd.
Yeah.
Big fan. The cinematographer is a German cinematographer named Tobias A. Schleicher, I believe. Notable works include obviously Dreamgirls, Friday Night Lights, The Fifth Estate, Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, Beauty and the Beast, the most recent Wrinkle in Time, and most recently, the winner, like the Oscars haven't happened yet, but winner of all the SAG Awards, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yeah!
Yay! Just like fantastic cinematographer.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
So, the writer for the original stage production of Dreamgirls, the playwright, was Tom Eyen, I think it's pronounced, E-Y-E-N, and the music was by Henry Krieger, and the lyrics were by Tom Eyen, and they worked together. Now, they had first worked together in the 1957 musical version of Eyen's play The Dirtiest Show in Town, and they were inspired to craft a musical about black backup singers, and it was originally called One Night Only and given the working title of Project Number 9, but it was shelved. And then later, it was brought back to the table because it caught the interest of Michael Bennett, who was fresh off of his success in A Chorus Line. So a lot of things happened and a lot of rewrites happened. Effie's character originally died at the end of Act 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. But the woman that they wanted to play Effie refused to do it if she wasn't in Act 2. So they rewrote it a little bit and made Effie have a resurgence in Act 2.
Good.
The original Broadway production opened at the Imperial Theater on December 20th, 1981, and it ran for 1,521 performances. It was nominated for the 1982 Tony Awards for Best Musical Score, but it won for Best Book of a Musical. Tom Eyen, his works were a little bit all over the place. So obviously he was best known for Dreamgirls, but his career started in experimental theater. He had success with, as I said, The Dirtiest Show in Town, which he worked with Henry Krieger, and Women Behind Bars, which was a camp parody of women's prison exploitation films. First off, I wish I could have seen that. It sounds amazing.
Wow.
The music was by Henry Krieger, who also wrote Sideshow.
Oh.
Yeah. So going to the screenplay. So David Geffen was the stage musical's co-financier, and he retained the rights to Dreamgirls. And he turned down a lot of offers to adapt the story for screen. They had tried to do it a bunch. There were talks about a version with Whitney Houston, and she was going to play Dina. But the thing was is that she wanted to sing And I Am Telling You. And they're like, no. You can't sing that song and not be effing, and so that version dropped. So this adaptation came about after the film success of Chicago, because that was sort of the big resurgence, I would say, of modern big-budget musicals.
Same director.
No, I don't think he directed Chicago.
Sorry, he wrote the screenplay. He wrote the screenplay. I'm sorry,
yeah.
Ignore me.
And so it was written by Bill Condon, and he had always wanted to do an adaptation of Dreamgirls. And so he met up with a producer, and they had a huge discussion about it. And this producer, Lawrence Mark, and Bill Condon had dinner with David Geffen, who owned the rights. And they convinced him to allow him to write the screenplay for it. After he saw the first draft, Geffen greenlit the project. So while much of the stage musical story is intact, a lot of changes were made. So the hometown was moved from Chicago to Detroit to make it a little bit more like the Supremes. The roles of many characters were more closely related to their real-life inspirations, which was a suggestion made by Geffen. And the completed film had a production budget of $75 million, which made it the most expensive film with an all-black starring cast in cinema history, which is very cool. The music for the movie, Dreamgirls musical supervisors, Randy Spendlove, which is a real name apparently, and Matt Sullivan hired an R&B production team, the Underdogs, to restructure and rearrange the original score so that it better reflected its proper time period, but also reflected a little bit more modern pop sensibilities.
Cool.
So there were slight adaptations. Basically, it wasn't an exact reproduction of the stage. And 4 new songs were added for the film. I Love You, I Do, which is what Effie sang in rehearsal to Curtis. Mm-hmm. Patience, which was the message song for Jimmy Early. Perfect World, which I do not remember.
It might have been an instrumental or
It may have been. And then Listen.
Wow.
Listen was not part of the original one, but it was so popular that it was added into later productions of Dreamgirls, apparently.
As it should be.
And those new songs were composed by the original composer, Henry Krieger. Okay. Actors and casting. So, obviously, this movie is a star-packed movie. So they began pre-productions with the intention originally of Jamie Foxx and Eddie Murphy. Those were the 2 people they had in mind. And when they offered the role originally to Jamie Foxx, he declined because they couldn't quite meet his salary demands. So they talked to Denzel Washington, who turned it down because he couldn't sing.
Oh, God bless Denzel.
Truly blessed Denzel. He's like, I can't sing, so no. Will Smith and Terrence Howard. Those were the other actors that were considered. Eddie Murphy, however, accepted it almost right away because he really liked the concept. And once Jamie Foxx heard that Eddie Murphy and Beyonce were on board, then he decided to work with it. Now, originally they planned on casting relatively unknown actresses as the 3 Dreams, but Beyonce lobbied for the part of Dina Jones and was cast after a successful screen test. Now, this screen test, apparently, she did in full costume. Like, she had choreography, and she was very
She's like,
insistent.
I want this.
She considers this her first film as an actress, and she was nominated for a Golden Globe for her performance. When they were looking for Cece, they originally wanted Usher, which would have been wild.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God. But Usher was able to dedicate a full half year to this project, so the contract didn't go through. They also were considering Andre 3000 and Outkast, but both of them ended up declining it. The eventual actor they chose was Keith Robinson. Now, for Laurel, we have Anika Noni Rose, who is a Broadway veteran and Tony Award winner for A Raisin in the Sun, and she's the voice of Princess Tiana. I love her. So she won the part of Laurel after a lot of auditioning, but she is significantly shorter than both of her other two co-stars. She's only 5'2", so she was required to wear and dance in almost 5-inch heels, and it apparently was very difficult and caused her some pain and discomfort.
Oh no.
I know. Now, obviously, the most crucial casting decision was Effie White, who's sort of the emotional center of the story.
Absolutely.
And they wanted to cast a relative unknown in the role, which sort of parallels the casting of Jennifer Holliday in the original production. So a total of 783 actresses auditioned for the role of Effie White. So there was Fantasia Barrino, who was also in American Idol, and of course Jennifer Hudson, who got the role. Raven Simone auditioned.
I love that.
Yeah. Broadway stars Kathia Jenkins and Patina Miller also auditioned. Apparently, Retta also auditioned, which would have been great as well. Eventually, Hudson was selected to play Effie, and she was required to gain weight for the role, and it was her debut film performance. Now, in casting, Bill Condon said that he wasn't super confident that he made the right decision, but he instinctively cast her after she had auditioned because he just didn't believe anyone else when they sang the song. She had so much emotion and put her whole heart into it that she was the only one that he fully believed. Loretta Devine, who played Laurel in the original Broadway production, had the cameo as the singer who performs I Miss You, Old Friend, and she was lovely.
All right, let's talk reception. So one thing I think is really cool is the way this movie was brought to theaters. So in the same theme of like older Hollywood musical releases like The Sound of Music, My Fair Lady, and West Side Story, Dreamgirls debuted with 3 special 10-day roadshow engagements beginning mid-December at the Ziegfeld Theater in New York, the Cinerama Dome in LA, and AMC Matreon 15 in San Francisco. This release made Dreamgirls the first American feature film to have a roadshow release since Man of La Mancha in 1972.
Wow!
And then it was released nationwide on Christmas Day. There is a director's extended cut that was released on Blu-ray and is available on streaming platforms now. That is 10 minutes longer. This film has a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. It generally had positive reviews. The things that critics were a little critical of were they said it was too glossy and it didn't articulate the emotions that haunt its characters. However, there was lots of praise for the standout performances by Hudson and Murphy. Awards. This is really cool. Dreamgirls is the first live-action film to receive 3 nominations for Best Song. Previously, that had only been done by animated features with Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King. They had received 3 nominations, but those were animated. In addition, it's the first film in Academy Awards history to receive the highest number of nominations for the year, but not be nominated for Best Picture.
Cool.
In terms of wins, Jennifer Hudson won for Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars. They also won Best Sound Mixing. And then at the Golden Globes, they won Best Motion Picture. Best Supporting Actor went to Eddie Murphy, and Best Supporting Actress went to Jennifer Hudson. Singing, I have no notes on singing. I thought it was fantastic. God. I just wrote, oh.
This is one of my gripes, and it's because Beyonce is such a phenomenal singer, which is a wild thing to say. So in terms of the singing, the character of Dina is supposed to have a less strong voice than Effie. And Dina's played by Beyonce, who has one of the strongest voices. And yes, it's different sounding than Jennifer Hudson, but it's still strong and it's obvious in this movie. And so it was one of the few things that I was just like, and I know they can't cast a less strong singer as that role because it requires a lot, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, obviously this person is not a weak singer. It's just a small thing for me. It's because her voice is so
That's fair.
Phenomenal. And especially during Listen.
And when Curtis was like, I picked you to be lead because your voice has no depth or personality, I was like, how fucking dare you? That is not true at all.
First of all, no.
Yeah. That didn't make sense.
So, yeah, that was the main thing, because everyone who sang in this was remarkable. Obviously, all four dreams were incredible. Cece was great. Jamie Foxx has a great voice. Like, it's such a stacked cast in terms of vocal talent.
In terms of dancing, most of the dancing was backup singer do-wopping or like the choreography. Like there was a lot of arm movements and like choreographed steps. The only real dancing was we see Cece choreographing the backup dancers for Step Into the Bad Side.
And that was a lot of fun too. I mean, I love a tambourine dance.
I don't really have any gripes other than like Dina waving at Curtis in the finale like she forgave him and will always love him, and I don't... No!
My gripe. So the first time that they sing out of the context of a performance is like 20 to 30 minutes into this movie. And it took so long for them to do it that once it happened, it felt weird, because it felt like it had already been established that the songs happened during performances, even if the songs pertain to characters' lives.
Agreed.
And after that, every time that they sang not in the context of a performance, I got a little tweak in the back of my head of like, this feels off. And it's only because it took 20 to 30 minutes for them to introduce that concept into the movie. That's my only gripe.
And I agree.
Do you have a moment of joy?
I don't have a specific moment of joy. I just really appreciated like the way that we saw the passage of time through the fashion and the musical tastes. Specifically, like the Black-owned R&B soul stations are a through line and they are always there, but we saw the passage of time through the pop music trends, and I thought that was very well done.
Right.
From like the 50s through to the 70s. To the 70s, but also like we got a taste of it with the Cadillac car cover of that like whitewashed, overly articulate, and then we ended in disco and getting to see like it was really Cece's big development of like, this is not the music that I am passionate about, and seeing music trends turn away from being about the lyrics and the meaning and being more towards just like the beats and the bops. And you weren't listening to it on your radio, you were going to the clubs and dancing to the disco, and like the needs of society were changing and the wants and the desires, and how frustrating it was to feel like what you loved and were passionate about was just not being appreciated by society anymore. And I just thoroughly enjoyed the film in its entirety. It was all a moment of joy. Just a 2.5 hour moment of joy.
It was 2.5 hours of joy.
Do you have any fun facts to sign us out with?
I think I mentioned this before. After the release of the film, the song Listen was completely rewritten to go into the national tour of Dreamgirls, which is so cool. I love when shows can be refreshed and revamped in such a way, and it's not treated as sort of a precious piece that can't be adjusted. It was sort of, we have a new thing, and it's excellent, and it helps the character, and it helps the story, and so we're going to add this in. I thought it was awesome.
I have 2 fun facts, and we touched on one of them, but just that I have been working my way through Grey's Anatomy. Loretta Devine, who was the original Laurel in the Broadway production, she was a jazz singer in this. She's also a major character on Grey's Anatomy. So when she showed up, I was like, wait a minute, I know you. Also, my goof fun fact, which is when Dina and the girls performed the disco version of One Night Only in the club, the stage backdrop is made up of computerized moving headlights, which did not exist at the time.
Oops!
I love goofs like that.
Oh, that's fun. That's great. All right. There is an excellent podcast called American Scandal. They do sort of anywhere from 4 to 6 episode dives onto different things that happen in American history that were scandalous. And they do, I think, a 5 or 6 episode arc on payola. So highly recommend looking that up. It is excellent, and it gives you a lot of background on the history of payola.
Great. Yes, dramaturgy homework.
Yes. We didn't have any dramaturgy homework for Babes in Toyland because we were so baffled by the entire experience that we did not get to it. So this is your homework. Listen to a podcast.
We'll link it in the show notes. Well, friends.
Yes.
Thank you for this wild ride.
This joyous, long episode.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed what you heard on whatever podcast streaming device you listen to us on, we would really appreciate some stars and some reviews. Pass us along to your friends. The more reviews and stars we receive, the more the algorithm pushes us onto the pages of people who aren't our immediate friends and family. And we read every review, and we really appreciate your listenership.
You can follow us on all the places, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
We are available for streaming everywhere podcasts are found. We are now on Pandora. That is a new development that we're very excited about.
Yay!
And stay tuned. Follow our social media for some teasers of what our next episode will be, as well as some more fun dramaturgical facts. This has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Whee!
Whee! Goodbye.
I'm a general. Whee!
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.